Hey guys, so I got a pretty funny comment here. Why are they still making ads for a year-old phone? So it was about Samsung Galaxy S2, and it was Samsung that made that ad. Well, Samsung is making ads mainly about Samsung Galaxy Note and their Samsung Galaxy S2. And if we talk about the experience, I mean, I've been using my Galaxy Note and my Galaxy S2 a lot, or at least like I've been using them a lot, and I'm gonna tell you, I mean, you get a 1.4 GHz dual core, or it's a dual core. I'm getting confused there, but you get a 1.4 GHz like dual core on the Galaxy Note and a 1.2 GHz dual core on the Galaxy S2. Do you feel any difference? Does it feel like the Note's faster? No, you don't feel a difference. So yeah, and the two biggest selling smartphones right now, like from Xiaomi's, like the Galaxy Note and the Galaxy S2. That's why they're making commercials about it, and that just right now the Galaxy Note's being launched in the States. And then you say that making ads for a year-old phone. If you talk about the announcements, when they announced the Galaxy S2, it's not even a year old. It's like 11 months. So saying that it's an old phone, it's a little overkill, I think. When it got launched, like internationally in May last year, and then like in the States a few months later, or a ton of months later. Actually, it's only been out in the States for a few months, so I wouldn't really say that. And the States is obviously a huge market for like Samsung, so I wouldn't really say that it's a extremely old phone. But obviously I can tell you this, that obviously the market, and when these products get out to real consumers, that's always going to be behind for insiders like us, like we, the people that read tech news and everything like that, stay online, stay hooked in, always read the latest. We will always be like, we will always know what's going to be ahead of us. We always know what's going to be here, like what kind of smartphones and everything that we can expect from a year from now or something like that. But consumers, they always going to be behind. I mean, Samsung's already right now have like prototypes for the Samsung Galaxy S4, and Apple's probably working on iPhone 6 or iPhone 7 or iPhone 7s or iPhone 6s. Who knows what they're gonna call it? But it takes time to get products out to consumers, because you have contracts. You need to start to you need to have stores or factories when they produce these things. You have patent issues. You have a ton of these things. So even though companies may have a genius like product out there, it's gonna take like a year or like 1 or 2 years before they would get that product out and get that famous, and then they need to advertise it like crazy sometimes. So yeah, it's not a year. It's not a old phone. It's not an extremely old phone. But okay, if you talk about the announcement, then it's a year almost. So for Samsung developers, and those guys, they are probably calling it an old phone. But if you just ask anyone out right now that's on the streets, or on the streets, it sounds like they're going on crack. But if you talk about anyone right now, then like a lot of people are gonna say that the Galaxy S2 or like not an iPhone. A lot of people know that the Galaxy S2, that's something that you should have right now. They know that that's a good phone, and it's not old, because that's what you can get right now. I mean, you can't even get successor to the Galaxy S2, and I mean the Galaxy series is like one of the biggest Android. I think those are the top selling Android smartphones ever. So if you can't get the successor, then they aren't old. They aren't old. It's only been out in the States for a few months. And also, I think this year that the Galaxy S3 is going to be launched, or that they're going to try to launch it in multiple countries at the same time, like the US, so they get it out faster, like doing something that Apple do. Usually Apple They tried to get it out, you know, like pretty quick on the market. Now, this time, I think they made it like with the iPhone 4S launch. First, they started like with the US, and then they took a ton of countries coming like 2 weeks later, like, you know, like the whole Europe, and then what was it, like 2 months later, like in December, or that could have been 3 months later, a little late, they launched it in like China and Russia, I think. But now they have stopped selling it from China, I think, because people got crazy and people were almost like killing each other when they were waiting for it. But yeah, I mean, it's not an old phone. It's not an old phone. I have my Galaxy Note. It feels kind of the same as the Galaxy S2, but you know, it's still, you know, one of the top phones. I don't think that these phones, like, there are of course other phones with, you know, with higher clock specs, like. Okay, now I mainly talk about Android here, okay? Mainly talk about Android. I know Windows Phone 7. I know all of these other operating systems as well. But now mainly talk about Android here. You know, like the top Android smartphones or other Android smartphone alternatives here. If you talk about processor, they have like, yeah, 1.5 gigahertz, dual core, and mine have 1.4. So I mean, if I overclock it, I could probably get it to like 1.8 or something like that. But would I feel a difference? I mean, that's a huge thing. Do I feel a difference? No. So why should I have a little higher clock if I'm still not going to use it? But obviously next month we're gonna get, you know, the latest. You know, we're gonna hear the announcements about the latest from Mobile World Congress. But we do know that we're at least like gonna get like 3 new quad-core smartphones, like from Fujitsu. We are from like HTC, like their HTC Edge or HTC Zeta. We probably have the Galaxy S3 coming out. I mean, that's at least 3 like high-end smartphones, and it's fun that Fujitsu is gonna do things right now and like internationally, like in Europe and like US, probably sell a smartphone maybe, because they're pretty huge there in their, you know, home country. But yeah, so you know, the next high-tech stuff is going to be announced next month, or yeah, next month, because it's January right now, but late February. So I mean, it's still a long time until we, you know, just will know about those products, and then they have to get them out on the market, and that's going to take time. So you know, these are still, you know, the top phones that you get right now: an iPhone 4S, Nokia Lumia 900, or, you know, a Galaxy S2 or a Galaxy Note. But the Galaxy Note is basically like a Galaxy S2, but it's bigger, okay? So it's not an old phone. It's a high-end phone right now. It's a killer phone. And I love it, you know, it's sexy. Pick the white one. But yeah, don't pick the slow one, like on T-Mobile or something like that. I know in the States you have a slow one variant there. Yeah, so a quick little video here talking. Yeah, it's not an old phone. Yeah, see.